Love finances, the other F word, and want to support the show? Become a patron by going to patreon.com/FTOFW. You'll get special features, a shout out on the air, and early releases. Or if you prefer, pick up some merchandise at financestheotherfword.com.
As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey guys, welcome to Finances Other F Word. And today we are going to be talking about the men who built Las Vegas. And I had this one on the list for a while now because it seems like every episode I'm talking about the men who built America because I just fucking love that documentary series by the History Channel. And I'm such a fucking nerd about it. And for those of you in the before times of COVID, used to be able to come and have a great time used to have a great time coming to Vegas and being an adult and adulting and letting your hair down. And we are really missing old school Vegas as far as just people coming and having a good time and letting their hair down. We got two things kind of working this morning. Number one, we're recording in the morning, which we don't typically do. We are usually recording in the later afternoon. So Zoe and I are just kind of waking up. Also, I have a Quasimodo eye right now. I don't know if you guys can see it on YouTube. Like my right eye is almost kind of swollen, a little bit shut. And it's like BHL something. Here we go. It's this is what I have. I have a BLEPHARITIS. That's what it is, Zoe. Can you pronounce that word?
Blepharitis.
There you go. So I have a blepharitis, which is not a big deal, but it's making me look oh so beautiful this morning. So I have absolutely no makeup on because I don't want to put makeup on top of my eye. And my eye is slightly seeping. So I'm like this little... I know. I'm like this little old lady. Like I keep like tapping my eye. So that's good. But we had some really cool things that happened last night and we have to welcome a new country. So I'm going to kick it over to Zoe before we get this started. So Zoe.
Good morning. I am wrapped up in my pizza blanket, recovering from a migraine.
Why do you have a pizza blanket?
Well, it's a blanket in the shape of a pepperoni pizza. I mean, why do I need to explain that?
Because it doesn't sound like that would give you good coverage. It's a big circle?
Yes, it's a huge, big circle.
I prefer rectangles myself, is that's all I'm saying.
Well, it's doing the job for me right now. So first of all, welcoming our new country. We welcome to the family, to the FDOFW, Oman.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Oman or I kind of like Oman, which I know that's totally not it, but
Oman.
It just sounds cooler, like Oman.
Man. Oh man,
that's awesome. Welcome, Oman.
Yeah,
hopefully we're saying it correctly.
Please do let us know if we're not.
Yeah, exactly. Please feel free to check us, especially this morning. I'm drinking caffeine right now as we speak, trying to get my ass functioning up and motivating after our kick-ass show last night. Zoe.
So last night was our very first That Trivia show, pub quiz on Clubhouse, which was a rip-roaring success, even if I do say so myself, despite our contestants failing to realize A, that they were on a pub quiz, and B, that it might just feature an F word or two. But anyway.
But
I'm
you
not
guys
sure.
understand what we're talking
Yeah.
about because the audio will be dropping later tonight. Actually, I don't know why I'm saying later tonight because you're not going to get this until a week after. So the audio will have dropped 5-6 days prior to by the time you listen to this episode. But
yes, it was good. So it's on Clubhouse. We've offered invites to Clubhouse before. We still have a few left if anyone wants one. And if you would like to be a contestant on that trivia show, and there are prizes to be won, by the way.
there are.
Not only do you get to be a contestant on said show, but you can win prizes. Then please do let us know. You can contact us through any of our social media. You can contact us on Twitter. Not so much, but you can if you must. Then I'll check it. So you can twat at us, or you can.
As now that Trump is not on Twitter anymore, the platform
Yeah.
is irrelevant. I'm sorry.
Right, fair point. But you can twat at us if you like, or contact us on Instagram or Facebook, or you can call us or text us on our Google number, which is 775-537-4352, and let us know that you'd like to be a contestant on that trivia show, which is weekly on Clubhouse on Thursday at 7 p.m. Whatever Vegas time is. What is that? Pacific. Okay.
Pacific time. Yes. And if there is anybody out there that wants to send us, who wants to be the announcer for each week, we're going to try to have a listener who wants to be the announcer and go over the rules for the week. Please text us at that same number, but we are looking for contestants right now. And with that, I just was going to say something so amazing, and it's completely gone now.
But just be clear for future contestants, it's a quiz. It's a trivia quiz.
True.
Hence the title, That Trivia Show.
Yes.
And B, there may be some colorful language.
There will be.
Finance is the other F word.
F word. Okay. Correct.
It's all in the title.
It's all there for everyone to see. Yeah. And so just to give you guys a little bit of which again, you probably already heard the audio at the time that you listen to this, but there is drinking. Which does help the language get even more colorful. So you just got to be prepared for what it is. And we started off with our inaugural episode with 2 contestants, but our hope is to have 4 at a time. So eventually, like I said, we'll be doing 4 at a time. And so it'll be getting really, really lively because Zoe has a wonderful fucked up rule that she's decided to put in our little thing. And by the way, it's in our clubhouse. So Finances Other Effort has its own clubhouse. If you would like to become a member of the clubhouse, all you need to do if you're on Clubhouse is you can search for Finances Other F Word, and then you can follow us, and then we'll extend you an invite to be in the club. And then also what we'll be doing with the clubhouse rooms is we will be having past guests on the show that, have done amazing things. We're going to try to get John back, try to get Stanley, who does sound for Megadeth, and tons of other metal bands. And he's literally one of the best sound guys in the business. Try to get Danny back on. But the reason why we're bringing them all back on is because we want to be able to have a live question and answer. So if there was something that, maybe you're looking at getting in the industry and you wanted to be able to ask them a question directly, then you can pop in and then you guys can ask the host anything that you want. So, I guess within reason for them. So with that, follow us on Clubhouse and find our Clubhouse, Finances Other Effort. And so we're going to get into, if I can see, because as I'm like looking at the screen, like my eye is getting lower. Like I look like I've fucked up this morning.
You need a patch. You need an eye patch.
I know, dude. And wouldn't I look cool with a fucking eye patch? Awesome. I actually think I have an eye patch from a long time ago. Like a long time ago, I had pink eye, and I wore an eye patch so I wouldn't like rub my other eye accidentally and get into the other eye. But yeah, seriously. So if I have to stop and keep making my text notes bigger, it's because my eye is like, as I'm talking, my eye is
Gradually
like,
falling off.
it's gradually getting like more and more swollen. So it's starting to close the eye. So at some point really soon, I'm going to need to, hey, there you go. And I just got my text message for my prescription. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the city that Zoe and I love, or at least that I love. I'm
I
assuming
love it.
she loves the
Yeah.
city. Yeah, Las Vegas is fucking great. So the first settlers or indigenous people to the area was the Paiute tribe. And they have a reservation just slightly up the street from me. And they lived here in the Nevada area 10,000 years ago. And the name Las Vegas was given to the city in 1829 by Rafael Riviera. And he was a Spanish explorer. And at the time, before everything, got cemented over, there was a whole bunch of artisan wells and springs that were all within the valley. And because of that, there was a lot of greenery. And so Las Vegas in Spanish means the meadows. And I don't know that for sure because I don't speak Spanish. So if somebody out there speaks Spanish and that's incorrect, please let me know that my intel is incorrect. And the US acquired the Nevada and surrounding territories at the end of the Mexican War in 1848. And then in 1859, the discovery of gold and silver, of course, started the gold rush. And a lot of people might not know this, but Nevada is still a huge state. It produces tons and tons of gold out of the state of Nevada. We have a lot of mines specifically in northern Nevada that just pull tons of gold and other precious metals out of the earth, which, to be honest with you, I didn't really know that we produce that much gold. And apparently we produce a fuck ton of gold in the state of Nevada, but we're called the silver state.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Figure.
Is there somebody called the gold state? Is that why? Isn't there the golden? Isn't California the golden state?
I'm not from these parts. What the fuck do I know?
I don't know. Haven't you seen the license plate?
What?
The license plate have the state logo on it. You know what I'm talking about? Like Florida's the Sunshine State.
Yeah, I know, but I don't pay attention to that unless I'm ramming into the back of it.
Yeah, let's not do that. 5 years later, during the Civil War, Nevada was hastily made the 36th state in order to strengthen the Union. And when the Depression started, most of the mines obviously had been abandoned. And Las Vegas was officially established in 1905. 1905. Dear God, it's early.
Wow.
1905. At least I didn't say fives. 1905, after a railroad link. It's close. Yeah. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me dab my CPI.
Oh, it's so gross.
It is gross. It's not like dripping gross, but it's like I can feel it kind of tugging at the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's just water. But it feels gross because my eye's so swollen. So it feels like it's like drooling down my face, but it's really not. Now both eyes are doing it. This is going to be great.
Yeah, but don't do it with the same tissue, will you?
You mean like I just did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fuck it. Whatever. Look, I'm getting a prescription. We'll be fine.
Now my eyes are watering at the thought of it. So if you've given me your blepharitis or whatever it is, I will not be happy.
Well, look, if I can fucking give it to you through Zoom, I could probably heal it from you from Zoom too. So we'd be all right.
Is that a beer you're drinking?
No, it is a sparkling ice caffeinated water. But dude, how fucking cool would that be after the night that Zoe and I had with the alcohol that we consumed for the quiz show? If I was just like, fuck it, just cracking up a beer at the fucking 9 a.m. I'm not a beer drinker, but I couldn't do that shit in the morning anyway. So Las Vegas was established in 1905 after a railroad linked LA and Salt Lake City. In 1911, the city was incorporated as Clark County. Now, I knew that the Boulder Dam, now known as the Hoover Dam, had a big part of Vegas, but I actually didn't realize that was the reason why Vegas is all about sex, alcohol, and gambling, and now weed, because it's been legal here for a number of years. So the Boulder Dam, which was later renamed the Hoover Dam, brought, of course, a lot of very young male workers into the area. And they were all coming off the Great Depression and everybody needed work. And so they decided to come way the fuck out in the middle of nowhere to build up the Hoover Dam. And if you guys have never seen the dam, you've got to go a couple times, because when you look down the dam, and you realize how deep this fucking thing actually goes and how much concrete's in there. And of course, there's tons of people buried in the dam that were workers, and they fell in and they're just like, they're dead. And they just put cement over them and they just kept going, which to me is fucking insane and kind of gross. But with all of these young, hot, muscular, fucking sweaty, dam building men, they were looking for sex, alcohol, and gambling, and thus Nevada legalized gambling in March 19th of 1931 to appeal to all of these male workers. And I had no idea the fact that the federal government was pretty pissed about it and they tried to block it. So let's talk about that. So Governor Fred Balzar, which I think is a fucking amazing name, signed Assembly Bill 98 into law. And the whole point of legalizing gambling in Nevada was to lift Nevada out of the Great Depression. And so he undid a ban on casino gambling in the state that had been in place since 1909. And in 1996, Howard Hughes, who we're going to talk about here in a second, came into the space and then tried to, 1966 came into the space and tried to make it more family friendly. And that's more of the Vegas that you see today versus, the Vegas of Yonder's past, which I think would have been a funner Vegas, quite frankly. Because the one thing I never understood about Vegas as a resident of Vegas and as a tourist of Vegas is like, it's a 3-day weekend. It's 2 a.m. You're walking through the casino, blitzed out of your mind. And there's people pushing their kids in, strollers. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a family destination of mine. I mean, obviously I've lived here with children and brought up children here. So I get that there are family parts of it, but I wouldn't ever choose this as a destination to bring young children personally. But
no, especially when I'm coming here to try to adult, and I got to tug my kids around with me. I take those fucking kids to Disneyland. When you're buzzed walking through the casino, it's the worst thing to have somebody in front of you, like fucking pushing a double wide stroller. I'm like, take those kids to bed. They don't need to be around smoke and cursing and me at 2 a.m. Anyway, so on top of legalizing gambling, Nevada was also one of the first states to legalize divorce, which I thought was super great. And state gambling taxes account for a huge portion of our overall tax revenues here still today, which we are very thankful to the casinos for that. And in the early 1900s, they had to pump water into Las Vegas. And so it started becoming a pit stop between people who were trying to go from California to Utah or California to New Mexico. And then, of course, since the water was here, then we started seeing the railroad lines coming through and started connecting the area. And then we started seeing Las Vegas started getting built. And then with the Hoover Dam, now this is the importance of the Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam, first of all, I love the state. On July 3rd, 19.
Oh, that's a great day.
That's a great fucking day. July 3rd, 1930. I even put in my notes, what a great day. That's hilarious. Like,
oh my God, just in case you don't remember what a great day that is.
Exactly. I was
what
like,
a great day.
Literally, I typed that in. President Herbert Hoover signed the bill to start the construction on the Hoover Dam, again, was then the Boulder Dam. And the population of Las Vegas went from 5,000 residents to 25,000 residents, like almost immediately. And of course, with this came the merchants, the mafia, and showgirls. And again, they were trying to feed the appetites of these young strapping lads, which I can't even imagine the danger it must have been to be working on the dam during that time. Basically you're walking across scaffolding, hanging by ropes and shit. Like, no fucking thank you, dude. But that'll just tell you when people are really hard up for work, what they'll do to provide for themselves and their families. So good on those people. And so what happened is that it was well known that Las Vegas was built on gambling and sex and showgirls to help these young male minors. But even with that said, the federal government was still a little surprised by it for some reason. And we had the Secretary of Interior, Ray Lyman Wilbur, come through in 1929, and he was meeting with workers at the Hoover Dam, and one of them had alcohol on his breath. I'm sorry, it just cracks me up because I have no idea like what time of the morning that he came through or if he came through later. Anyway, and so what ended up happening is that Ray got very upset that there was people that were drinking at the dam, which as he should, because that's a very dangerous situation. So they decided that they needed a federally controlled town known as Boulder City for dam workers. And so basically what the Fed did is they came in to cock block the men from getting to Las Vegas. So they're like, we're going to incorporate a nice little pretty town. We're going to run it federally, and we're going to keep everybody squeaky clean. And for those of you who've never been to Boulder City, it's a beautiful city.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super body. I have clients over there, beautiful city. But it's no Vegas. And so what happened is that there's a variety of different things. And so the gamblers started creating meandering. So what they would do is they would intercept, like when the dam workers were trying to get to Las Vegas, they would basically like cock block them, so they couldn't actually get to Las Vegas. So they created like this long way around where they would all go together, and they would all go on this like pilgrimage through the long way around to get to Vegas, like skirting past all of these fed people so they can go get their gambling and shit on. And those days were known as the Hell Dorado days. So if you're a Vegas person, then you've heard of Hell Dorado days, but I had no fucking idea what it was. I thought it was a made up word, or maybe because it said hell that it just meant because it was in the middle of summer and hot as balls. But no, in fact, it's a real thing. And I'm just like, man, good on these men. They're just like, look, we're trying to get some, and we're trying to drink and gamble. So we're going to underground railroad this shit and get around you guys. So the dam was completed in 1935, and everybody left. So in 1937, everybody was like, it's too hot here, especially back then when there was no AC. It gets hot as fuck here, guys. Even though if you're working on the dam around the Colorado River, it's hot as fuck. So the thing is that everybody left. And in 1937, Southern Nevada Power hooked up to the dam and provided the first electricity to the valley and to Las Vegas and to Fremont Street and specifically. And because of all of the amount of lights that were on Fremont Street, powered by all of this excess energy that the dam was producing, it was called Glitter Gulch, which I didn't know what that came from either. I didn't know. I had heard of Glitter Gulch, but I thought it just meant everything kind of in specific. And no, in fact, it means specifically just Fremont Street. And so what happened is in April 3rd, 1941, Thomas Hull opened up the first hotel that would be on the Strip. It wasn't the Strip at the time, but it would be known as the Strip, and it was El Rancho Vegas. And the El Rancho Vegas became the most popular casino because it was the first one to introduce their gourmet buffet. Yes, which buffets have gotten expensive as fuck in Vegas. I don't know what happened. I mean, I know that before the COVID, like Luxor and MGM and a couple other properties were having like a pass that you could buy for the day. And I was like, I think it was 30 or 40 bucks, but it allowed you to go to any buffet throughout the whole day. And so they kind of tried to make it cheaper, but if like you've ever tried to do any type of buffet on the Strip now, I mean, that's just going to cost you 30, 40 bucks. And, by standards, as far as like when the mafia, which we'll talk about here in a minute, when the mafia ran Vegas, I mean, the buffets were immensely cheap. So let's talk a little bit about that. And there's a lot of tie-ins to our favorite people, our favorite person, Zoe. Guess who? He has a great back.
Oh, what?
Ja Rule.
Googly eyes?
Yes.
Oh,
yep.
That's why you like him so much, because you both got eye deficiencies.
Right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'd be like, Ja Rule, how are you? He's like, man, you got sexy eyes. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact,
yeah.
let me gross Zoe out while I dab my eye. Yeah.
You
Dude,
both be looking at each other, but one's looking over there, one's looking over there.
Well, to be fair, I think by the time we're done recording this, my eye is just going to be completely closed. So it'll be just like one eye looking. But
Ja
anyway,
Rule and you, oh, so sexy.
be like, that's gonna be our new thing. I'm Ja Ruling you. All right, so we're gonna talk just very quickly about Bugsy Siegel. We have a lot of places to visit here, and Zoe's gonna get into some of those. But of course, Bugsy Siegel was called Bugsy behind his back because he had crazy eyes. So
it's a running theme.
It's a running thing. So of course, I immediately thought of Ja Rule, of course, and he was influential in both the Jewish mobs and the Italian American mobs, and he, of course, was one of the main founders and leaders of Murder Inc., which Ja Rule, that was his band of artists, Murder Inc. So I was just like,
Oh,
look at that. It must have
wow.
been the eye thing. He must have been
Yeah.
like, I got crazy eyes. He's got crazy eyes, Murder Inc., the shit. And
Mel's got crazy eyes. Oh,
Mel's got crazy eye with fucking crazy eyes all over. And so, of course, he started with doing, petty crime. And then mostly what he did was he bootlegged during Prohibition. Seriously, my eye is closing right now. And then when Prohibition was repealed, he turned its sights on gambling. And Siegel was acquitted of murder of a fellow mobster, Harry Greenberg, in 1942. So he was, Murder Inc. was just that. They went out and they took hits on people. And of course, he's best known for his involvement in the Flamingo Hotel, which opened in December 26, 1946, and then pretty much immediately closed right after to reopen again in March 1947. And then 3 months after that, Siegel, of course, was shot dead June 20th, 1947 at his girlfriend's house, Virginia Hill, in Beverly Hills, California. And there's a couple different things that people say. Some people say that it was a mob hit because we'll talk a little bit about how he just was not a good steward of the mob's money. Other people say it was a lover's lover who was jealous. Either way, it was a drive-by shooting with a .30 caliber. They put 2 bullets in his head, riddled him all over, and it was a huge thing because, as we'll talk about in a minute, it actually got some newspaper coverage with photos, which were pretty unusual for the time. And so when Siegel was growing up, he befriended Meyer Lansky, who is another big mafia boss. And I should be disgusted at the mafia, but there's that little like ooh, like mafia. I don't know. I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm going to blame it on my eye. My eye
yeah. I would.
is slowly seeping into my brain and making me stupid. So anyway, and so with him and Meyer Lansky, they started with a small mob and they just were basically doing petty crimes. And then what they did was they started hijacking liquor cargoes, and then they got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then he was also a boyhood friend of Al Capone, who is another big mafia. And the Flamingo was controlled before Siegel got involved by a gentleman by the name of William R. Wilkerson, but he was coerced by Bugsy Siegel to sell all of his stakes in the Flamingo to Siegel under the threat of death. And then
That'll do it.
Yep, that'll do it. So he sold his interest in the Flamingo and he ran off to Paris to hide. And the Flamingo from that point on controlled the mafia until, of course,
Paris or Paris the hotel.
Paris.
Sorry, I'm just cracking myself up. I don't think the Paris hotel was
was it Tokyo?
built at that.
Was it Tokyo?
I didn't know I was coming on a quiz.
I love her to death. She just,
I know,
she's kills me though. I'm like, I told you what it was twice. Then I sent you an email. I'm like, I don't know what, and the title's right there, bro. Like, I don't know what else you wanted me to tell you. So anyway, dear Lord. And so Siegel was building the casino in post-war times, and he just wanted the best of the best because he wanted the Flamingo to be the premier destination. The problem is that building materials are very limited, making the ones that were available highly expensive. But he's still like, no expense. It's not his money, it's the mob's money. And he's going to throw caution to the wind and he's going to get the best of the best. The problem is that he was a pretty horrible manager of money. And if you've watched documentaries on him, there's been a lot of times where like the merchants who would have, palm trees, they would bring in a truckload of palm trees. He would okay it. He'd pay them. And then what they do is they'd bring in the same truckload of palm trees and he paid them again. And so there was a lot of things that were happening like that, where he was, very much, he was, a good looking guy. He was very much caught up in the lifestyle. He was a very popular mafia boss, or he wasn't technically the boss, but, a mafia member. And so he was very much caught up in the nightlife and all of the suits and things like that. But he was a horrible steward of the mafia's money. And so what ended up happening is that by October of 1946, the casino had ran over $4 million in expenses, which in 1946 is fucking a fuck ton of money. And in 1947, that skyrocketed to $6 million, or in 2019 dollars, $61 million to build the Flamingo. And the Flamingo is a nice historical hotel, but I mean, compared to the stuff we have on the strip now, it's really not.
Yeah.
It's really not.
It's down there.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, you got to walk through it once to pee.
Stay there.
Yeah, exactly. You walk through it to pee, get a drink, and then you go to the next casino. Unfortunately, it's just really, but I heard the pool is very nice there, but I've never been there. So the thing I thought was interesting is that Siegel was known for his sizable donations to the Damon Ruyan Cancer Fund.
Hmm.
Oh, I see a mob person with a heart. And so when the Flamingo originally opened, we talked about just a second ago how it opened and then had to close. What was still under construction when it actually opened. And so they're trying to set up this world-class experience for everybody. People are walking through and there's construction dust and there's hammers and shit going on. And the air conditioner broke almost immediately upon opening, which is not a good thing. And so what happened is they closed it. And then when Siegel got to reopen it, he hired Hank Greenspun. For those of you who are in Nevada, you know the name Greenspun. Greenspun Media is very huge in this area, to be his publicist and to turn around the brand of the Flamingo. And they reopened the Flamingo and it became profitable. But basically the mob bosses were like, okay, you still cost us too much money. And so they ordered a hit on him and he was killed by a drive-by shooting. And then the day after his death, the Los Angeles Herald put a picture of Siegel's bare feet with his toe tag showing on the front page. And in Las Vegas, the newspapers reportedly ran photos of his lifeless body. So this is, 1940s time. This is pretty salacious for, I mean, now, unfortunately, especially with the volunteer work that Zoe does, she sees a lot of unfortunately deceased people. But in 1940 times, to have this kind of stuff in the headlines is just, to see pictures of it is just crazy. And so then, of course, we have to talk about one of my favorite entertainers. What the fuck? Dude, let me take some more of my caffeinated water. Hold on.
I think your brain juice is seeping out of your eyes.
I know. Turn away, Zoe, because I got to dab my eye.
Mm.
I can't help it. I can't
know.
help it. Okay. Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
I love Frank Sinatra. If you guys have followed our Instagram feed, back in the day when I had time, I was constantly putting up songs of his that I was listening to because I just love Frank Sinatra. He is on my list if he was still alive, and a younger Frank.
I would hope so.
Yeah, if he's still alive and a younger Frank is on my list. Yeah, I just always, plus he's Italian. So I'm just like, what's up, baby? So Frank Sinatra. Let's talk a little bit about my man. Frank Sinatra did his first movie called Las Vegas Nights in 1941, which would be a good quiz question, by the way. And he was uncredited because at the time he was just a unknown singer for the Tommy Dorsey band. And basically nobody knew who he was. And, when he started off, he was immensely skinny. And so he was just this unsuspecting singer. And then 10 years later, though, he started headlining for the first time in Vegas at the Desert Inn as a solo artist. And he would later go on to perform at the Sands, the Sahara, the Riviera, Caesar's Palace, and the Golden Nugget. I think Golden Nugget was his last residency that he did here. And former Nevada Lieutenant Governor Lorraine Hunt, Bono, and I'm going to talk about why I'm quoting her real quick, has been quoted as saying, quote, Frank wouldn't go out after dark without a sport jacket on and let alone perform out of a tuxedo. He was the spark that changed Vegas from a dusty Western town into something glamorous. Now, the reason why I bring her up is because she owns, or did own at one time, the Bootlegger. So for you guys coming to Vegas, the Bootlegger is way down on Las Vegas Boulevard, like heading almost to California. And when I very first moved here in 2003, I think it was, I wanted to go see Vegas music. And so they said, hey, you need to go down to the Bootlegger because Lorraine Hunt, the lieutenant governor, owns it, blah, blah, blah. So for the first probably maybe 6 to 8 months that I lived here, I was able to go down there, and it's an Italian, restaurant. But the people that were playing there performed with Sinatra. Now, Sinatra was not there, but the people who played there performed with Sinatra, and it had that very cool old Vegas-y vibe. It's kind of mahogany wood, and the lights were really dim. And I think it's lost some of its charm now. I don't think she owns it anymore.
Is it still open?
Last time I was there, I don't really get to that end of the strip very much. But at one time it was, and it's a nice bar, and they have, relatively good food. The problem is that, when I went there, they had three-piece band. They had an upright bass, they had, drummer, and they have, had a piano. But now it's like one guy with a keyboard. And it's like, okay, you can be talented, but that's not the fucking atmosphere of this.
Yeah, Casio keyboard too.
Yeah, it's like, he's holding up like this, playing. It's the one you blow in and
Yeah.
like the, yeah,
Oh,
and you
all
play
day
it.
long. Yep.
It's good. It's good. And so in 1953, when Sinatra was 37, his record sales had slumped and he didn't really know what to do with his career because he was no longer a heartthrob. And he had just been through a divorce with his first wife, Nancy with a smiling face. And he was going through a rough patch with Ava Gardner, and they were on their way out as well. And he started headlining and he became co-owner of the Sands. And he ended up getting his big break that turned his career around right when he was involved with Ava Gardner, of course, From Here to Eternity from 1953, which I've never seen that movie. And it gave him an Oscar for supporting actor. And then he later went on to star in other movies that I've also not seen: The Man with the Golden Arm, Guys and Dolls, High Society, and Pal Joey, which, all right. And of course, they called Frank the chairman of the board. And Humphrey Bogart's wife deemed all of the drinking buddies the Rat Pack, which is where the Rat Pack came from. So it's Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford, and Sammy Davis Jr. And then, of course, they went on to start the whole series franchise of Ocean's 11. And of course, they would perform all the time on the Strip as the Rat Pack. And when I came down here one time, I went to see the Rat Pack is back. This was when I was looking for work down here. I hadn't moved, and I got front seat ticket, and I was singing all the songs, and I brought the median age down in that showroom by, I swear to God, like 40 years. And but it was great. And they're just wonderful. There's a couple ones that come around here, not as much as they used to be, unfortunately, but it's really, like I said, if you love crooners, you got to see it at least once. And but this is kind of fucked up. Sinatra reportedly did not like the word Rat Pack, so he preferred to call the gang of five of them the Summit or the Clan.
Ooh.
Yeah, considering Sammy
good.
Davis Jr. Was so the Klan. However, Sinatra was a big proponent to try to help discrimination in Las Vegas. And so we have a restaurant that still stands today, which is off of Sahara and the Strip up like a block, called the Golden Steer. And if you drive by it, it has a huge golden steer in front of it. And so Sinatra refused to eat at restaurants and casinos that were segregated at the time. And instead, he would often eat with Sammy Davis Jr. at the Golden Steer. They have a Frank Sinatra booth there. Still to this day, I've never eaten there, but I heard the food is immensely good. If you drive by it, it looks like a shithole. But apparently it's like fucking amazing, right? And so what ended up happening is that, he kept fighting discrimination. And in 1960, Sinatra helped pass an agreement among all hotel and casino owners to effectively desegregate Las Vegas. So that was really nice. And then, of course, in 1967, Howard Hughes comes in, which we're going to talk about him here in just a second, and purchased the Sand outright, basically ending. What he did was he cut off Sinatra's gambling line of credit. And so Frank Sinatra was like, fuck you. And he quit headlining there, and he went across the street to Caesar's Palace, who was, of course, happy to have him. And in 1982, Steve Wynn brought Sinatra, who Steve Wynn is a huge name here, obviously has the Wynn Hotel and the Encore. And he's also another person who built Las Vegas, but we don't have time to cover that right now. And he brought Sinatra he revamped the Golden Nugget, and he gave Sinatra a multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal. And he came to the Golden Nugget, and he continued to sell out showroom after showroom. And Sinatra's final Las Vegas performance took place on May 29th, 1994 at the MGM Grand. I've seen parts of it. It wasn't great.
Really?
He'd kind of forget the words, and he'd kind of repeat himself, and he was a little off time, but not like a swinging off time. Like it was just like, okay, I mean, you got to respect him because he's Sinatra, but it's probably a good thing it was his last performance. And he was inducted into the Las Vegas based Gaming Hall of Fame in 1997. And the following year, Sinatra died on May 14th, 1998, and the lights on the Las Vegas Strip were dimmed in his honor. They were also dimmed for Sammy Davis Jr. And I think that's the only time they've been dimmed. I think just for those two. Either way, both great men. And we're just going to talk a little bit about Howard Hughes, because Howard Hughes just has always struck me as a douchebag. And I didn't want to spend too much time on him, but I didn't prove myself wrong. He is kind of a douchebag. And so basically he came to Las Vegas in 1966 on Thanksgiving weekend, and he just decided not to leave. His father, so first of all, he expanded the money business empire, but he didn't make the money. His father had, which I did not know this. I thought,
Sounds familiar.
yeah. Oh my God. It's exactly where I was going with this. So I thought that Howard Hughes was a businessman and he had created all his own wealth. No, what happened is his father had invented an oil well drill bit that could penetrate hard rock. So they were able to get access to the oil, and that made his son one of the richest people in the world. And so Hughes purchased over 73,000 acres from the Bureau of Land Management. And at the time, it was estimated to be worth about $300 million.
Oh, okay, get my purse. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
That Ethan's trying to get, it's kind of somewhat relevant to us. Ethan and his girlfriend are trying to get tickets for Life is Beautiful right now. Okay, they probably will sell out. So he's of course asking mummy for credit card.
Yeah,
So
for money.
We're recording the podcast, so let me give you this and then bugger off.
Yeah, and by the way, as long as you're doing stuff, I would also like to get tickets to something.
Would you? You'd like tickets too? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like. I'm gonna dab my eye.
Is it your 16th birthday coming up? There, go.
Yeah, if you take that by a multiplier, yeah, why not? I mean, technically, we're only 3 months out from it. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that.
16th or 40?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, it's, yeah.
Okay.
In a couple months. We've talked enough about on this podcast. You know how old we all are, and that's why we're an extra podcast. So it's okay. Mm-hmm. The difference is that Zoe's an extra who has the liability of children and has to buy them tickets to Life is Beautiful, where Mel can buy her own fucking tickets and doesn't have to go with anybody. And it's funny. One of my best friend in high school, her mother had posted a meme that said something to the effect of, if you don't have anybody to say goodnight to at night, and then if you don't have anybody to wake up and be there with or do something for in the morning, do you call that freedom or loneliness? And I was like, 46 years of freedom. So I don't know if she's going to be like, fuck you, Mel. She might, and maybe she's right, but I don't give a shit. Let's see. So he bought the 73,000 acres from BLM that was estimated at 300 million. He also owned Harold's Club in Reno, which seems like such a crazy name, and tons of vacant lots on the Las Vegas Strip, an airline, and multi-Nevada ranches. And he also had 2,000 mining claims. And basically what happened is that he came into town, he got into the Desert Inn penthouse. They told him, hey, you need to move out now because we have New Year's Eve coming. And he said, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And he just bought the whole fucking hotel, and then became this crazy ass recluse that was afraid of germs. And he used his wealth. This is very interesting. He used his wealth to obtain a gambling license in 1967 to run the Desert Inn, but he refused to get photographed, fingerprinted, or fill out any financial disclosure papers, and they still gave him the fucking license. So if that's not the 1% using their fucking money to bypass all the other shit and fuck the little guy, I was like, yeah, you're a douchebag. So it makes me like you even less. So he then turned around and he purchased the Sands for 14.6 million, and then the Frontier for 23 million. And then at the unfinished Landmark at the time, Landmark Hotel, which is no longer standing, for 17 million. And he promised to, again, douchebag alert, he promised to establish a medical school at UNLV and promised to give $200,000 to $300,000 a year for 20 years, but never did it. And as a matter of fact, the Nevada Medical School was not established until after he left town. He was staunchly against nuclear weapons. And of course, the Nevada test site is a big thing here, which we're not going to get into. But I mean, the testing museum's a cool place. But he ran a defense contracting company that helped create weapons. But while he was here, he kept trying to rally against all of the Nevada test site things that were going on, which I'm not a fan of that either, but I'm just like, you hypocritical fuck, right? Mm-hmm. Again, so just every time I learn more about him, I'm like, yeah, he was douchey. However, this did touch my little environmental heart. He was focused on cleaning up sewage that was going into Lake Mead at the time, which of course was just direct bypassing right to it. And he wanted Vegas to have clean air and clean water and be cutting edge. But I didn't really find any evidence that he actually did anything to do that. That's just something that he wanted when, I mean, I think it would be arguable that he could have done something with all that fucking money. And he was an insomniac and
I feel him.
wanted to watch TV at all hours of the night. Is this ringing any bells? And so Las Vegas did not have a 24-hour channel. So what he did was he ended up buying, here we go, Hank Greenspun. He bought his television show, which is KLAS Channel 8, and he sold it to Hughes in 1967 for $3.6 million, giving Hughes a 24/7 channel. And so he could stay up at all hours of the night and watch TV. And on Thanksgiving Eve of 1970, he was carried out of the Desert Inn on a stretcher and driven to Nellis Air Force Base in an unmarked van. And he was flown to a resort in the Bahamas, and he never returned to Las Vegas. And this, of course, sparked a huge battle for his business empire, because what happened is that once he left the penthouse, all of the other people came in, they started firing all of his people. And he just never returned. Well, and then he ended up dying on April 5th, 1976, on a plane flying from Mexico to Houston. So now we have the business empire in shambles because he just up and leaves it. And then we have him passing away April 5th of 1976 intestate. And
we all know what that means, don't we?
We do. And if you don't, we have an episode on it. Plus, we've talked about it 1,000 times on this podcast. So go back and look at it. And so what ended up happening is that, of course, the family came out and everybody started trying to fight over his estate. And basically the immediate person who stepped in was a Houston lawyer and the child of a maternal aunt of Howard Hughes, by the name of Will Loomis, which made me think of Halloween, because it was Detective Loomis, I think was his name. Anyway, and he stepped in to try to figure out what the fuck was going on with the empire, Hughes' empire. And he found out that between 1971 and 1976, due to mismanagement, that the Hughes Corporation had lost $132 million running these casinos. And basically, so Hughes died in 1976. And 1985, his estate was finally settled when the courts rejected claims by California and Texas to that he had violated that they were owed estate inheritance tax, which we've also talked about on this podcast. And what happened is GM came in and he bought Hughes Aircraft for $2.5 billion in 1985. And eventually Hughes's estate was divided by 23 relatives. And that is where I'm stopping, because I didn't want to go too long on this, but I love this city. So I really enjoyed finding out about the city. And I had to touch a little bit, like I said, on Sinatra, because that's my man, of course. So Zoe has a much funner part of the recording. So you want to take it away, Zoe?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about a few places that or events that you can go to in Vegas that if you don't live here, you may not necessarily know about. First of all, there's quite and a lot of this is pre-COVID. So, you know,
the before time,
the before times. It's and what I'm going to talk about is still going on to a certain extent now, but you know.
And your dot, I just want to let you know, your dot is back on your forehead. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, she has like a dot. Yeah. Like
something wrong with my camera, but anyway.
It's a great, it looks like, yeah. Anyway.
Otherwise I look fantastic, seems I haven't showered for 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to start off with the arts district. Yes, look, now I can't speak because of her. She's infected me with her ridiculousness. So there is a fantastic art district here in Las Vegas, and if you're lucky enough to be here on the first Friday of the month, then you should definitely go down to the art district and check out First Friday. On the first Friday of every month, except for I think towards the end of the year, but anyway. check it out. First Friday, then there is lots of live music, food trucks, all of the galleries down there are open. There's all kinds of shenanigans going on, and it's a really cool place to be. Now, what's going on right now during COVID, I'm not so sure. They may have started it up again in some form or another, but I'm just trying to tell you about things in general for when all of this shenanigans is over. Um, first Friday of every month, and just in general, the Arts District is probably not so well known if you don't live here in Vegas, but definitely go check it out. As well as galleries, they have great little restaurants down in the art districts. They have what do they call it over here? Like secondhand clothes shops, all kinds of just
Thrift
like
shops.
yeah, but they're more like kind of
Consignment.
Consignment shops, just all kinds of weird and wonderful.
Glad I could help you with your grammar, Zoe.
Thank you. Weird and wonderful shops and great art down in the art district. So that's my first tip. My second tip is Monday's Dark, which Mel and I have been to a few times pre-COVID. Now, it's held, used to be once a month. Now it's twice a month. And this is something that is actually going on virtually despite COVID. But pre-COVID, it was held in a little tiny venue, not in the most fantastic part of town, called The Space. And what it is that every Monday, most Mondays, most of the big shows on the strip are dark, meaning that they don't happen. So what this guy called Mark Chinook, I believe that's his name, and his wife started doing several years ago, and they were both entertainers down on the strip too, is they started getting all their mates who are also entertainers on the strip together on Mondays, once a month and now twice a month, to do shows at the Space free, in that the entertainers wouldn't charge for their time, for charity. So we would get charged, visitors get charged a nominal amount. And I think I don't know if it still is, but it used to be $20 a ticket, or you could get a table for $50. And it's really, really well worth it. And then they would have a theme. So like Mel and I went to the Whitney Houston theme one night, and all of this proceeds go to a specific charity. And all entertainers from very well-known shows on the strip will come and sing and perform for you, doing these, whatever particular artist it is at that night, and all of the proceeds go to that particular charity. And it's such a good show, and it's such good value for money, and it's just, I can't big it up enough. We had a fantastic time when we went, didn't we, Mel?
Oh yeah, and they have alcohol too, so that always helped. Yeah,
and it's just it's full of comedy. It's full of great talent. You're supporting a local charity, and there's Jello shots. Usually, there's just it's. So I'm all for that. Was it Jello shots or it was Jello shots? It's definitely shots.
Yeah, they have a special shot that everybody, it's $5 and it goes to the charity too, and it's usually some crazy mixed sugar drink.
Yeah, it's usually awful. But each charity
it usually tastes awful, but
it tastes awful, but you do it. It's a great evening's entertainment. The charity of choice is guaranteed $10,000. So it's just great. So check that out if you're ever here. Monday's Dark, 2 Mondays a month at a venue called The Space. Now, as well as hosting that twice a month, The Space also has other artists that do plays and shows and other things there. Like I said, it's not in the best area, but it's a great little venue. And, so that's another thing to mention. Another pretty cool little place is the Container Park. Hasn't been there, well, relatively new, but it's shops and restaurants and bars made out of containers, what they called shipping containers. And it has this huge sculpture out the front that breathes fire. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a grasshopper or a... What
It's
is it?
it's a like a praying mantis.
Praying mantis. That's what it is. And that's also more downtown than so more towards Fremont Street than the Strip. But it's a very cool little place, and you should check that out for sure. Another little favorite of mine and is called the Laundry Room, and it's actually a speakeasy, and you can't just go into it. You have to know the phone number, and you have to call the phone number and book a spot, and then it's only open from Wednesdays till Sunday. I think it's like from 9 or 10 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning. And then you book your spot. And I think you're only allowed in there for an hour or two at a time. And then they tell you where to go, which I can tell you is actually the Commonwealth. Have you ever been to the Commonwealth bar downtown? I really like that as well, which it's kind of styled like a big old fashioned pub. So once you've got your spot to the Laundry Room, you get ushered in through the secret entrance, which is actually at the back of the Commonwealth.
You're just giving away all the details.
I know I am. I totally am.
You're like, it's super secret, but let me tell you everything that happens.
You still can't go in unless you have the number, and you can't find it. But they usher you into this secret tiny little speakeasy bar, which is completely decked out like a Prohibition era bar. And they have a pianist, and it's really, really cool little place. But you can only stay there for an hour or so, and then they kick you out onto the street. I don't know. I haven't been for years.
I didn't even know, you guys, I did not even know this existed. And the fact that she's just now telling me, and she's like, it's so great, but I've never invited you, Mel. But obviously I know everything about it, including where the entrances are.
Yeah, I've been several times, but quite a few years ago. But anyway, so that's cool. It's called the Laundry Room. And speaking of speakeasies, there's also it's not a hidden speakeasy, but talking of the mafia, there is a very cool museum called the Mob Museum here, and they didn't, when I went, of course, when I took my kids with my dad, they didn't have it then, but they now have a speakeasy bar at the bottom, so that I would like to go back again because it's a cool museum. Plus they now have a bar. And then my final little you may not know about it unless you live here, is I love the Pepper Mill. And that is on the Strip, the lower end of the Strip, but it's like going back in time, going in there. It's a dark bar with fire pits in it, and the waitresses or whatever they're called, whatever you're supposed to call them these days, the hostesses, they wear long black like evening gowns. It's just a great atmosphere. It's great little bar, and that is on the Strip, but it's towards downtown. So they're my little,
I have one that I want to add to that used to go on, and I don't know if it does anymore, but once a month on Wednesdays at the Copa Room at the Smith Center. So the Smith Center is our huge venue for the symphony, which I love the symphony, but of course we haven't been because of COVID. But they used to have something called the Composer Showcase. And tickets were typically at the time $25. And literally the room was like maybe 100 to 125 people. That was it. And you had to get there. You had to get tickets immediately because it would sell out. And what happens is that all the people we talked about who came to Monday's Dark and they would sing or do whatever, these were people who, because especially with Cirque du Soleil and things like that, we have a whole bunch of people who compose music for all of these different shows on the Strip. And so there's a whole bunch of music directors and there's a whole bunch of music composers who are writers of their own music, and they want to get their music exposed. And so what happens is that they have a place in the Smith Center, and I think it's the Copa Room, or maybe it's not the Copa Room. Anyway, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a room in there, and it's a composer showcase, and you go there and they all play original music, and it's fucking fantastic. The problem is that it doesn't start until like 10:30 at night because everybody has to get off the Strip and get done working. And it goes to about 1:30 or 2 in the morning on a Wednesday. totally worth it. Once everything opens back up, if it's back there, I'm going to start making it part of my monthly ritual like I used to back in the day. But other than that, I mean, I think we covered a lot of stuff, all the places that Zoe's never taken me. So I will take her to Composer Showcase at some point, and then maybe she'll take me to the laundry room. But with that, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And hopefully the next time you see us, my eyeball will not be so puffy and seepy. And
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully not. And the audio for our first That Trivia show will be dropping tonight, which is going to be in your past, but it's in our future. And you guys can follow us on social media at Finances Other F Word. You can follow us in our Clubhouse, Finances Other F Word Clubhouse on Clubhouse, or at FTOFW Pod. Fuck, why do I not know what the fuck our handle is? FTOFW Pod on Clubhouse. If you want to be a contestant, then go ahead and hit up our Google number and let us know. And of course, our book is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, et cetera, financesotherfword.com. Follow Lily Lou Mittens on Instagram. And with that, I'm going to say we're out this bitch, but it's still like super early in the morning. So even though we're out this bitch, I still have all fucking day. I got to work. So we're out this bitch to go into another bitch. That's what's happening.
A bigger bitch.
Bigger bitch. Amen to that. All right, you guys, we'll talk at you later.
Cheerio.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review us and tell your friends.